Test Drive with Graeme Fletcher.
This week on Test Drive, we look at the 1994 Toyota Supra. Now, when it was announced, some thought that it would come with a V6, others thought it would come with a V8. Some actually thought it might not come at all. Well, I can tell you that the Supra has arrived, and arrived in style. Removing the Supra's sport roof is accomplished with relative ease. Undo 4 bolts and a centre lock with the tool provided, and off it comes. Now, the panel is light enough to make this a one-man operation. To avoid damage when removed, the trunk has been equipped with some special hold-downs. Driving the Supra topless has an upside and a downside. On the upside is the sheer thrill of driving what is, to all intents and purposes, a convertible. The downside is the amount of cowl shape that develops when the roof is removed. The amount of body flex is such that on rougher roads the car begins to feel skittish. So if you do plan on using the Supra to its full potential, leave the lid on. The other source of annoyance are 2 wind deflectors that pop up when the roof panel is removed. The amount of wind noise is worse with these things up than if you hold them down. They either need removing or redesigning. The styling of this new Supra is wonderful. Its lines are almost fluid and its proportions almost perfect. That is, until you get back to this rear spoiler. It's just too big in comparison to everything else on the vehicle. Now, I for one don't think it does much for the car, and I'd dearly love to have a look at one of these things minus this spoiler. The instrument cluster has been designed like an open horseshoe. This concept ensures that all controls are at one's fingertips. The plus is that all controls, like mirrors, locks, windows, etc., are well marked and simple to operate. The result is that you can keep your eyes on the road when operating most of them. Not a bad idea given the gusto. On the safety front, the new Supra comes with twin airbags, traction control and anti-lock brakes. Toyota built the Supra as a 2+2. Now, as you can see, head and leg room are definitely very tight, meaning that it is a 2+2. However, where it has a distinct advantage over, say, the Corvette or the RX-7 is that you can actually get an extra 2 people into the vehicle. Now, it helps if you're vertically challenged, but at least it's usable. The seats provide plenty of support in all the right areas, especially laterally. Add to that a perfectly placed dead pedal and you're not going anywhere when you begin to have fun. The only comment here is that people with a slightly more portly girth than mine will find the side bolsters tight and quite possibly uncomfortable. Trunk space in the Supra is at a premium, especially with the top stored. For most people, folding down the back seat and making use of the extra space is going to be a fact of life. The secret to the Supra is the engine. You see, there are very few engines in the world capable of producing 100 horsepower per litre. This is a 3-litre engine and it's rated at 320 horsepower and 315 pounds-feet of torque. The secret to that amount of output is down to the ductwork, an air-to-air intercooler and a 2-way twin-turbo setup. I'll have more on that in a moment, but before I close the hood, I just want to mention, ahead of all of that technology is a really wimpy horn. Now, a decent car deserves a decent horn. Do us a favour, give us a manly man's horn. The 2-way twin-turbo setup is a clever way of ensuring a broad torque band and loads of horses. Rather than using one large turbo, the Supra uses 2 small compact units. The first turbo provides boost at low RPM and engine load. As demand for power increases, the second turbo kicks in, working in conjunction with the first, providing superior performance at the top end. With the 0 to 100k time at a hair over 5 seconds, I think it becomes obvious that this sophisticated system works well. Matched with this new engine is a terrific new 6-speed manual transmission. The gate is compact and the shifts very precise. The clutch action and feel is superb, making this road rocket very easy to drive in the city. Fuel economy during the test averaged 12.2 litres per 100 kilometres or 23 miles per gallon. Given the performance and the fact that one hardly ever travels slowly in this automobile, these figures are better than I anticipated. The reason the Supra handled the pylon test so well is simple. It's down to 2 key elements. First of all, there's a whopping set of tyres on this car. Two 55/40s up back and two 35/45s up front here. Combine that with a very usable and workable suspension. It's double wishbone, very nice and compliant. It provides you with a perfect car for the pylon test. However, when winter arrives, this setup is far from perfect. You'll have to trade these babies in for a set of snows. Stopping power is provided by an enormous set of ventilated disc brakes. Drop the anchor and the Supra stops on a dime. During the test I required 112 feet to stop from 80k. To keep the brakes cool during spirited driving, there is some ducting that directs air directly to the brake. The two side scoops therefore are functional rather than cosmetic. As one might expect, ABS is standard on the Supra. A lot of the hardware used for the ABS is shared by the traction control system. The track system, as Toyota call it, not only applies the brake to the spinning wheel but also controls engine output. Decreasing engine power and braking the offending wheel at the same time ensure optimum control. Unlike many other systems, this system functions throughout the operating range, meaning that it keeps you on the straight and narrow as well as assisting in pulling away in bad weather. Well, that's it for this week's test drive. I said in the beginning that the car had arrived in style, and that I think I've proved. The only thing is, I think some people are going to quibble about the price. $60,000 isn't cheap. However, it'll separate the men from the boys, and I for one think it's worth every penny.